evening and welcome to your Wednesday, July 23, 2025 edition of the Evening News. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. A real concern, U.S. Ambassador warns of implications if sanctioned AZRUDDIN Mohammed enters Parliament. Guyana to partner with Yale University to advance biodiversity science, data and technology. President Ali to appoint Chief Justice Roxanne George as acting chancellor. Political, financial support vital to avert biodiversity crisis, achieve LCDS goals, says VP JAGDEO. DEMERARA Bank cut ties with several candidates of US-sanctioned AZRUDDIN Mohammed-LED win. And BV man busted with 7.8 kg of cocaine during CANU operation. Now for the news in detail. Let's begin this evening's newscast with Davina Samaru, who reports that United States Ambassador Nicole Thiroux stated that U.S. would view the election of sanctioned businessman AZRUDDIN Mohammed to Parliament with serious concerns. On this note, she cautioned that such a development could have implications for both government-to-government relations and private sector engagement between the two countries.
Is the U.S. at all concerned about Mr. Mohammed contesting Guyana's elections, and if so, why?
Yes, we are concerned. Anytime the U.S. Department of Treasury OFAC-sanctioned individual has the potential to become a member of government, that is concerning for us. It's problematic in multiple ways because the way that we as the U.S. government can interact with the government, we have to be very careful if that person is involved. Let's say he were on a certain committee. We would have to be very careful in working with that committee. We have to make sure that we didn't work with him specifically. So that's a bit of an issue, yes.
United States Ambassador to Guyana Nicole Thiroux engaging members of the media on Wednesday on the sidelines of an event at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. In 2024, the Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, announced that it had sanctioned Nazar Mohammed and his son AZRUDDIN Mohammed, as well as several of their companies, along with former Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, May Thomas. The sanctions on the businessmen and their businesses are related to the evasion of taxes on gold exports, noting that between 2019 and 2023, Mohammed's enterprise omitted more than 10,000 kilograms of gold from import and export declarations and avoided paying more than US $50 million in duty taxes to the government of Guyana. AZRUDDIN Mohammed has since launched a political party called We Invest in Nationhood WIN, and he is running as the presidential candidate. His party has been approved by the Guyana Elections Commission to contest the elections on September 1. The U.S. ambassador explained that if Mohammed enters government or even parliament as an opposition member, it would have serious and concerning implications for Guyana.
When you see an OFAC-sanctioned individual become a part of an official within a government, it sends concern through the private sector of the United States. So you see U.S. companies often rethinking their relationships in the country. We saw it in Afghanistan. We've seen it in other countries as well. They sometimes look to de-risk or to even just cut ties with the country. And we're in such a beautiful position right now. All these U.S. companies want to come to Guyana, and Guyana is welcoming so warmly all of these U.S. companies. And I don't want, if he were to become a member of the government, that to change. So that's a real concern that I have.
What about if he becomes a regular member of parliament in the opposition? Is that still a concern?
Well, yes, he would still be a member of government, so that would be a concern for us, yes.
Only on Tuesday, several members of the WIN party received letters from a commercial bank to close their accounts, citing banking policies as the reason.
We are now joined by Lawanda McAllister, who reports that Demerara Bank has taken decisive actions to close the accounts of several candidates from the We Invest in Nationhood party, led by U.S.-sanctioned businessman and now political aspirant AZRUDDIN Mohammed.
With just 2 weeks to go before Guyana's general and regional elections, Demerara Bank has severed ties with several members of the WIN party, citing international policy concerns linked to international sanctions. Among those affected are Natasha Singh Lewis, a former member of parliament under the Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change, and Duarte Hetzberger, once a personal assistant to embattled ex-chief elections officer Keith Lowingfield. Both individuals claim to have been notified via email and phone that their accounts would be closed by July 25th, but received no detailed explanation. DEMERARA Bank's CEO Daulat Pardu later clarified with sections of the media that the move stems from international compliance requirements. The bank, he said, must mitigate risks under anti-money laundering laws and avoid exposure to sanctioned individuals. At a press conference on Tuesday evening, WIN officials are alleging that this move is politically motivated and threatens legal action against the banking institution. Natasha Singh Lewis said after being notified by Demerara Bank of her account closure, she visited the bank seeking clarity, but allegedly to no avail. Contact was made with WIN candidates, and it was learned that at least 5 others received similar notifications.
The bank has a license and has a responsibility to do business with all Guyanese. And my service with them goes beyond 15 years. I have had 15 years and more of uninterrupted service with that bank. And suddenly today, I receive a letter to say that they will discontinue service with me. I found that very, very strange.
Similarly, Hetzberger said he received a call and identical email on Tuesday and was only told that he failed to meet banking requirements without further explanation. When candidates have raised concerns that Demerara Bank's decision to close their accounts may be linked to their association with WIN Party founder AZRUDDIN Mohammed, who along with his father Nizar Mohammed and their companies. Meanwhile, campaign manager Odessa Primus, who is also on the WIN list of candidates, described the move as possible petty politics by the ruling People's Progressive Party government.
These are the kinds of behaviors that they need to cease and desist from these sorts of things. You have 70 plus years of having a party, and in this day and age, you still have to go out of your way to fight a party that has existed for what? 2 months, just over 2 months, maybe thereabout.
Surprisingly, the sanctioned businessman was not a part of the press conference, but later indicated that he stands in support of his candidates. Lawanda McAllister for the Evening News.
Here is Vanumanik Chan to report that the Guyana government is embarking on a landmark collaboration with the Yale Center for Biodiversity and Global Change to enhance biodiversity research in the country with a focus on science, data, and technology.
President Dr. Irfan Ali on Wednesday announced this Memorandum of Understanding that was inked between Guyana and the United States-based Yale University during his address at the opening ceremony of the inaugural Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit 2025 being held in Georgetown from July 23rd to 25. According to the head of state, this MOU is the beginning of a strategic and long-term collaboration between Guyana and the Yale Center for Biodiversity and Global Change that will focus on science, data, and technology.
Under this agreement, Yale, through Map of Life, their global biodiversity intelligence platform, will work with Guyana to support our leadership in the Global Biodiversity Alliance, help us design a world-class international center of excellence for biodiversity research right here in Guyana, build a national biodiversity information system with maps, dashboards, and data layers, and guide the application of cutting-edge biodiversity science to decision-making, including for 30 by 30 commitment.
With Guyana leading global efforts to preserve and protect the world's diminishing biodiversity resources, President Ali says this partnership with Yale University opens up opportunities for networking with stakeholders.
Yale brings not only its world-class expertise, but also a network of partners, including the E.O. Wilson Biodiversity Foundation, Map of Life, and the broader GEO community. This is a monumental step forward, not just for Guyana, but for South-South and North-South collaboration in biodiversity science. We are building the global biodiversity knowledge infrastructure from the ground up and from Guyana out.
The Yale Center for Biodiversity and Global Change is a research center at Yale University dedicated to studying and understanding the patterns, drivers, and consequences of biodiversity change on a global scale. The inaugural Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit is a strategic two-day event that brings together world leaders, biodiversity experts, key stakeholders from various sectors, and local community in Guyana to have tough conversations on biodiversity preservation. Among regional leaders in Guyana for the summit are Prime Minister of Barbados MOHAMED-LED, President of the Dominican Republic Luis Abinader, former Colombian President Ivan Duque, and Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Once again, here is Vanu Manikchand, this time to report that in underscoring the importance of nature to Earth's survival, President Dr. Irfaan Ali has disclosed that Guyana's rich ecosystem has an estimated value of over US $15.2 billion per year.
Speaking at the inaugural Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit being held in Georgetown over the next 2 days, President Dr. Irfaan Ali on Wednesday disclosed that McKinsey and Company, along with Conservation International, recently did groundbreaking valuation work to come up with rigorous and credible evidence to determine what Guyana's biodiversity is worth.
McKinsey and Company and Conservation International did extraordinary work to get us here. Their analysis tells us that Guyana's ecosystem provides over $15.2 billion per year in ecosystem services. An overwhelming 96% of the value comes from non-market services, those invisible benefits we all rely on but never pay for. Genetic resources alone, from plant compounds and medical potential to unique species traits, are worth $8.4 billion annually. Existence and bequest values, what our peoples are willing to pay to preserve nature, amount to $3.6 billion annually. Think about that.
According to the head of state, Guyana's standing forest is providing more economic value than it would have if destroyed. Despite this intrinsic value, however, Ali pointed out that biodiversity still remains grossly underfunded.
Today, we invest just $200 billion per year in nature. But to meet the global biodiversity framework targets, we need at least $700 billion annually. That means we must more than triple global finance for nature. And we must ensure that this finance flows to where it is most needed, especially in the global south.
To this end, President Ali is hoping that this lack of funding is something that can be addressed at the ongoing Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit in Georgetown.
The Global Biodiversity Alliance will prioritize this. We are committed to scaling blended finance, to de-risk investment in nature-based enterprises, piloting biodiversity credits that reward stewardship, expanding debt for nature swaps modeled on our own experience, supporting community-driven finance models that place indigenous leadership at the center. We invite development banks, asset managers, impact investors, and sovereign wealth funds to join us, because financing nature is not charity, it is insurance, it is resilience, it is return on investment.
Guyana has already secured a spot at the round table at COP30, which is being held in Brazil later this year, where the outcomes of the Biodiversity Summit will be presented to advance work and mobilize funding. Reporting for the Evening News, Fanu Malikchand.
The government of Guyana is urging increased political and financial backing, both locally and internationally, to prevent a looming biodiversity disaster and fully realize the targets outlined in the country's low-carbon development strategy 2030. Speaking at the Global Biodiversity Summit on Wednesday, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO highlighted that while Guyana remains a global leader in forest preservation and climate resilience, achieving the ambitious goals of the LCDS requires both political and financial support. More in this Judicial Sobers report.
We are here now to look at how we get political support for the initiative, how we can marshal all of these things that have been done before and that we will do into clear, concise arguments that will allow us to get more political support globally. And the political support is necessary if we are going to achieve the target of 30% by 2030. For it to be effective, we need to be focused. I think we can be wildly successful if we're focused. Like we had to keep that focus very, very tight when we were building our model, with all sorts of distractions coming along the way. But if you keep the focus tight, we can come up with a product that would be useful, we can get the political buy-in, and we can get financial flows at a scale that would allow us to avert a biodiversity disaster.
The Low Carbon Development Strategy LCDS 2030 is a national framework aimed at fostering a low-carbon economy and sustainable development in Guyana and the globe, reinforcing the need to preserve and protect the planet. Speaking at the Global Biodiversity Summit on Wednesday, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO explained that Guyana's biodiversity ambitions are vast, pointing out that the initial US $250 million forest carbon deal with Norway laid the groundwork for Guyana's climate and biodiversity finance framework. That deal, once hailed globally, sold forest carbon at US $5 per ton and was intended to fund key projects, including a biodiversity center that was never completed due to several challenges. To confront the challenges posed, JAGDEO emphasized that the strategy moving forward must consider targeted biodiversity protection rather than requiring full jurisdictional scale like carbon credits. Against this backdrop, he urged international partners to help strengthen legislation, frameworks, and technical capabilities in countries with limited capacity, acknowledging that many developing nations have strong intent but require institutional support to deliver effective biodiversity conservation.
For this to work, we have to have international collaboration. We're signing an MOU with YALE. People have to feel that the work done, they can benefit from the work. The global community would benefit from the work, but they too can benefit from this work. And that it would not come at the expense of their future prosperity. I just don't want us to get caught up back in the science all the time. We've had a lot of science done. We need to do the science too. A lot of the countries, the developing countries who may have been here, they have very limited capacity to strengthen their legislation, the framework. We have to assist them in doing that. We have to assist them in many initiatives.
The inaugural Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit 2025 is being held in Georgetown from July 23 to 25. The summit is a strategic two-day event that brings together world leaders, biodiversity experts, key stakeholders from various sectors, and the local community in Guyana to have tough conversations on biodiversity preservation. Judicial Sobers, Evening News.
Let's now tell you that President Dr. Irfan Ali is preparing to appoint Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George to serve as Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary amid ongoing debate from opposition leader Aubrey Norton over the definition of meaningful consultation as required by the Constitution. This development comes after Acting Chancellor Justice Yonette Cummings was granted 2 months of outstanding leave. In light of her absence from July to October, the President signaled his intention to temporarily elevate Justice George. Despite a formal letter from the President requesting Norton's feedback, by July 18, 2025, no response has been received. Guyana's highest judicial office, Chancellor of the Judiciary, has remained without a substantive appointment for nearly 2 decades. Currently, Justice Cummings Edwards serves as Acting Chancellor, while Justice George serves as Acting Chief Justice. Norton's silence is notable given his own previous calls for both Justice Cummings Edwards and Justice George to be confirmed in their respective roles. Coming up, government committed to building modern maritime economy with upgraded shipping infrastructure, and the founder of JFAP, CN Sharma, endorses President Ali for second term. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
Sun or rain? Up or down? No one knows what tomorrow will bring, but with Premier's commercial property insurance, you'll be ready. For all risks insurance, call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Fuel your success. Premier Insurance. Premier insurance coverage.
You know, I've been thinking, since I moved over to the west side, this is the perfect location for put up a food stand.
Put up food stand here?
Yes, Officer Bling.
No, Granny, you can't put up no food stand here.
Why not?
Because the gas to energy pipeline.
Gas to energy? Why is that?
You can bring gas from offshore to region 3, that can turn into electricity and other things.
So what about if Granny put it up over there?
No, Granny, listen. This whole area here, from here to the West Bank, is considered the right of way. So nobody can build, plant, dig, or burn nothing here.
But what if I am?
No buts, Granny. Listen, you could get yourself or others hurt. Watch, you see this number here? You call it if you see anybody doing anything out of the way or doing anything they ain't supposed to be doing, like building, digging, or burning stuff on the right of way.
All right, grandson, I hear you.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The government of Guyana has reaffirmed its commitment to transforming the country's maritime economy through strategic investments in shipping and port infrastructure. In this Judicial Sober's report, you will hear that as part of its modernization drive, major developments are underway to expand seaport capacity, improve logistics efficiency, and strengthen Guyana's positioning as a regional trade and shipping hub.
President Dr. Irfan Ali, while speaking at the Shipping Association of Guyana's Networking and Business Mixer on Tuesday evening, believes that building a modern, competitive maritime economy calls for deepening harbors, upgrading port infrastructure, and establishing an independent national port authority. He laid bare the scale of Guyana's shipping challenges and bold vision to fix them. At the top of the list, however, is the urgent need to deepen Guyana's harbors, especially the Demerara River, to accommodate larger modern vessels, given that without deeper channels, the country is locked out of the freight economies of scale driving global logistics.
How do we create an enabling environment that is incentivized by the system to have the reinvestment in ports? And that is something we're looking at very closely. So, as you know, larger vessels mean low freight costs and higher volumes. But without deeper berths and channels, these ships cannot dock at our ports. This puts us at a major disadvantage, and that disadvantage translates to higher costs throughout the supply and logistic chains. The second major issue is the efficiency of our port operations. We cannot talk about becoming a competitive nation without addressing inefficiencies in our ports. Turnaround times must be shortened, system must be digitized, and bureaucracy, including customs processing, must give way to smooth, timely processing and competitive business environment.
Additionally, to match the physical upgrades and institutional reform, the administration is drafting a Modern Port Act. This law will introduce stronger safety standards, transparent regulations, and modern governance structures. President Ali disclosed that at its core is the establishment of an independent port authority.
The future is not how each company will move forward. We do not have the size or form to go after the big opportunities individually. We have to change our approach. We are preparing legislation and regulations to ensure our port operations meet the expectation of a modern maritime economy. This is just the beginning. Over the next 5 years, my administration will intensify investment in port development. Our economy is growing and will continue to grow. With growth comes greater demand for imports, greater volumes of exports, and a heavier burden on our existing ports.
This initiative, Ali emphasized, supports government's broader economic diversification agenda with a strong emphasis on enhancing the blue economy, creating new employment opportunities, and attracting foreign investment. In fact, the infrastructure upgrades will not only improve trade flow and reduce bottlenecks, but also enable Guyana to meet international shipping standards, making it more competitive globally. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
The People's Progressive Party Civic on Tuesday took its elections campaign to South Georgetown with a public meeting at Turning Point, Tuckville, where the party's candidates reminded citizens of the development taking place across the country and why President Dr. Irfan Ali should be given another term to complete his work for the nation. Here are the details from Davina Samaru.
Old people say, if Patwa come from the bottom of the gutter and he tell you has got fever, believe it because he been there. I've been there for more than 40 years, and I could tell you, they're wasting your time, they're wasting your vote. They cannot even manage a city of Georgetown, which they have been doing for years. They can't manage it, but then they want to manage the whole of Guyana.
Patricia Chase Green addressing a crowd at Turning Point, Tuckville, South Georgetown on Tuesday during a public meeting hosted by the PPPC. Once a member of the APNU coalition and a former Georgetown mayor, Chase Green now serves as a Georgetown councillor for the PPPC. She testified to the progress taking place across the country under the PPPC and urged that citizens vote for the COP on September 1 to allow the progress to continue.
If it is not broken, don't fix it. We are on the path for the past 5 years of progress and development. Let us continue that path.
Also addressing the gathering was Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, who reminded that for years, the PPPC only had 2 seats on the Georgetown Mayor and the City Council, but now the party occupies 11 seats. This, she said, is because citizens are realizing that true progress only happens when the PPPC governs.
But I don't believe that any community anywhere in Guyana can be considered an APNU stronghold anymore. That time has passed. Because the red wave is contagious. Because the progress is contagious. And because the People's Progressive Party Civic has been the most inclusive party ever in the history of this country.
Similar sentiments were echoed by Minister of Public Works Juan Edgell, who emphasized that the PPPC delivers development without discrimination, and this is why the party deserves another term.
We didn't come here by accident or by chance. It is intentional. It is purpose-driven. The PPPC has delivered development without discrimination in Guyana.
Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Let's now tell you that veteran Guyanese television host and political figure Chandra Narayan Sharma, popularly known as the host of Voice of the People and founder of the Justice for All Party, and his wife Savitri Sharma, has endorsed President Irfan Ali and the ruling People's Progressive Party Civic for a second term. Once a fierce critic of the PPPC, Sharma, now 72, has stepped back from the political spotlight in recent years. Despite his past opposition, he is now aligning with the current administration, offering his full support. The Justice for All Party entered the political scene in 1997, earning just 0.3% of the vote. Its support grew modestly in subsequent elections, but the party failed to secure any parliamentary seats. In 2011, JFAP joined the Partnership for National Unity Coalition, though Sharma himself did not run as a candidate. In 2020, JFAP broke away from the APNU coalition, recognizing the PPPC's victory in the general elections and calling for the swift swearing-in of President Ali. This marked a significant political shift for Sharma and his party. Meanwhile, his son Jaipal Sharma, a former government minister under the APNU AFC administration, recently joined the Alliance for Change. He previously served as minister within the Ministry of Finance. We are now joined by Bisham Mohammed, who reports that after years of attempts to create legislation aimed at preventing suicide in Guyana, the Health Ministry on Tuesday successfully launched the National Suicide Surveillance System in an effort to reduce suicide cases across the country.
The new system will allow the ministry to monitor suicide incidents across various regions. It covers both children and adults and aligns with the global framework such as the World Health Organization's Global Strategies on Child and Adolescent Mental Health. A key feature of the system is a standardized reporting form which will be responsible for collecting and receiving statistical data. The system also factors in social determinants that may contribute to suicidal behavior. The information gathered will be stored on a secured server in compliance with the legal and confidentiality requirements, ensuring that individuals' personal data remains protected. Additionally, the form complies with Sections 31 and 32 of the Suicide Prevention Act. Speaking about the significance of the initiative, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony highlighted how outdated Guyana's mental health laws were and what ultimately prompted the creation of the surveillance system.
When you look at our legislation, it was very dated, very antiquated. The mental health ordinances went back to the time of the British. It was in 1934 ordinances that we were using. And there were at least 2 attempts to modernize the legislation The first being around 2011 to get new legislation, but at the time, for whatever reason, we couldn't have agreement in moving the legislation forward.
According to Dr. Anthony, this realization led to the creation of the surveillance system.
But then, as we were implementing, we recognized that we needed additional support to make this legislation active. And that's where this surveillance system comes in. Because while this exists in law, we were still having challenges with institutions reporting, especially hospitals. So when something happened, people go to the hospital, it was not reported or it was reported very late. So we thought by developing this in an electronic format, giving people access to it, we would be able to get the information almost in real time.
Meanwhile, as the program's function were being explained, the Health Ministry highlighted the real-time reporting. It was noted that the forum was specifically designed to improve coordination by collecting data in real time, with geolocation and system enables a more robust and modern approach to address mental health conditions. Guyana experienced a significant decline in the number of deaths caused by suicide in 2024, with 40 cases recorded during the period January to August. In 2023, the Health Ministry had recorded 100 deaths by suicide across the country. Over the past 3 years, the majority of the deaths were as a result of pesticide use, followed by persons hanging themselves. Bishop Mohammed at Evening News.
Morris Cameron, a resident of Betterville Acting, East Coast Demerara, was on Tuesday busted with 7.68 kilograms of cocaine. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, CANU, stated that drug enforcement officers, acting on information received, traveled to the East Coast village, where they intercepted Cameron, who was at the time carrying a bag. This, however, prompted the ranks to search the bag, which led to the discovery of several parcels containing a quantity of whitish powdery substance suspected to be cocaine. As such, Cameron was arrested and taken to CANU headquarters, along with the suspected narcotic, which was subsequently tested positive for cocaine and amounted to 7.860 kilograms. Investigations are ongoing. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic at 3 hours 45 on Thursday, July 24th, 2025, for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic at 16 hours 35 on Thursday, July 24, 2025, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Wharton optimistic as Slingers FC resumes Elite League on top, and local cricket set to resume in Berbice this weekend. These stories and more coming up in this evening's Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp.
It's Building Expo and Cricket Carnival time, and MacCorp is knocking prices out of the park. Get the powerful Cat 320 GX for just 30 million, the SEM 655D wheel loader at 17.4 million, or the SEM 636D wheel loaded for only 13.8 million. Each machine comes with free fuel warranty registration, 2 years warranty, and a customer value agreement for the first 500 hours. Don't wait. Register your interest now at MacCorpCat.com or call us today on 703-8618. MacCorp, let's build Guyana together.
Get the job done right with Sylvie's Industrial Solutions, your trusted source for Stanley tools. Take on any challenge with the 820-watt impact wrench for power and precision, the 1000-volt insulated pliers for safety, the hex key set for versatile adjustments, the lithium screwdriver for effortless fastening, the polisher for flawless finish, and the 2200-watt angle grinder for heavy-duty cutting and grinding. Stanley tools deliver performance, durability, and unmatched reliability for all your projects. Shop now at sylviesonline.com. Sylvie's Industrial Solutions. Power, precision, and perfection in every tool.
Did you know Gyro Super 95 gasoline has an octane rating of 95, the highest rating available in Guyana? This premium fuel is known to enhance the performance of your engine, making it run smoother and more efficiently, leading to better fuel economy and improved performance. Choose Super 95 for more mileage.